Okay. So in the last class, we actually started module 4. Shiva, can you see the screen, Nana?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So, module 4, let me just recap what we have done in the last class. It's basically about RNN. Why we have to go for RNN? Because certain applications cannot be solved by DNN. What are those applications? We have taken Word autocomplete in WhatsApp or some other chat applications. We also have taken sentence autocomplete like in Gmail or some other mail applications. For these sort of applications, we will see other applications also, like we have seen parts of speech tagging, and we also have seen sentiment classification, etc., etc., etc. For all these applications, we cannot use CNN or DNN, only we have to use RNN. Now, this is just an assertive statement. I did not give you the proof for it in the last class. Actually, we have started that proof I think we are in the middle of reaching to the final point. So in the last class, what we have done is to prove that for these applications, we cannot use DNN. I have taken a DNN architecture. I've taken a DNN architecture. Maybe I'll draw it perfectly. I think it will be there above somewhere. Okay, just this erased. Okay, so if I'm trying to predict the words, maybe P, E, and E comes here, N comes here. Okay, so I'm not drawing completely. So these are representations you have. And firstly, what we've done is we came up with the equations. This is basically a DNN architecture only, but multiple DNN architectures, architecture 1 and architecture 2. Firstly, what we've done yesterday is we have restructured the DNN equations. Okay, in terms of instead of using W, we have used U and V here. Again, U use U and V here, so that I can I can actually I can actually shade the weights, because each DNN architecture will have many weights. If the second architecture has its own weights, if the third architecture has its own weights, then it's a problem. That's the reason we shade it. We shade the weights. So whatever the updated weights in architecture 1 will be given as input to the next one, and it takes as a base, and then it proceeds further. So this is one advantage of the equations that I've told yesterday. Okay. So what are the equations, Tana? This is SI, S1. This is S2. Okay. Maybe this input is maybe called X1. This input is called X2. And this input is output is Y1, and this output is Y2. Okay. What are the equations we have? S1 is equal to sigma of U into X1 plus B. Then Y1 is equal to output activation function V into S1 plus C. These are the equations for these. And what about the equations for this? S2 is equal to sigma of U X2 plus some bias B. And finally, Y2 is equal to output of V into S2 plus C. Now these are the equations. But if you see, I've completely reused the architecture except the input. Only inputs are changing, but the weights U and V are common across the first architecture and the second architecture. So what I'm achieving here, sharing is done. Sharing is done here. Okay. So if weights are being reused, then I don't need to spend much time on coming up with the stabilized weights, because the same weights are getting updated over a period of time. They're getting stable, and I can use those stable weights for the next architecture. So the advantage is perfectly fine. But what is the limitation of this? The first limitation is actually these are DNN architecture, DNN equations only. These are DNN equations. Only thing is, instead of W1, W2, I placed U and V. That's all. Where is RNN? From the beginning, I'm telling about DNN, 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 and DNN. Where is RNN? That we have not discussed. How RNN looks, we have not discussed. Still, we are trying to make DNN degraded to certain applications. We are trying to prove that DNN cannot be used for certain applications, and we listed those applications. So the first application is word autocomplete. This cannot be used because I should not pass the output as input to the next one. I need to pass the understanding. That understanding is not, I don't know where exactly the understanding lies, and how do I pass that understanding, I'm not sure. And that passing of understanding is not linked. If you see these equations and these equations share U and V, but where is that knowledge transfer? Where is that KT? That was not explicitly being shown. Okay, so that I think this entire stuff we have discussed in the last class. So then what we have taught is, okay, then instead of doing like this, let us do like this. I have to pass, sorry, I have to pass like this, P comma E, then ends. That means instead of passing only the previous output as input to the next architecture, I also need to pass previous input and its output PE, so that based on 2 letters, it can predict EN. But again, if you use this architecture, we use variable number of inputs x1. Here you are comparing x1 and x2. Then what happens? Your one hot encoded representation will be big because each input will take assume the 26 one hot encoded. So then P takes 26 and E takes another 26. Definitely, you cannot have a common set of input neurons. Again, next one will have 26 into 3. Fourth one will have 26 into 4. So when you have different set of input neurons, and the connections that you make will also vary. That means you cannot use the weights that you used here, and the weights that you used here cannot be reused here. That is the reason this approach is also not correct. X1, X2 passing different inputs to the architecture is also not at all good. Okay, these all things we have discussed in the last class. I just want to reiterate because this is completely new, and you should not get at all, you should not get any problem in understanding, because entire module 4 will deal with these architectures only. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Only thing is, Nana, I've drawn multiple DNN architectures. I'm telling that you cannot use DNN for certain applications. The reason is, the basic reason for that is, I'm not able to pass the knowledge that was gained in one architecture to the other architecture. Now, I can do connections, but I should do connections in such a way that I reuse the weights. That is important. I can somehow connect. See, why can't I connect like this also? Why can't I connect like this also, the architectures? See, connecting the output as input to the next architecture is actually not knowledge transfer. As we also have taken an example. Taking an output and input from your friend program will not make you write a new program. You should understand what exactly has happened in architecture 1, so that you'd be in a better position to judge the next letter of that word. Okay, so all these things we have discussed. That means what we have finally proved, DNN architecture has to be changed, should be changed in such a way that I overcome all the problems that I said. What are the problems that I said? First is, I somehow need to reuse the weights. That is my mandate. Definitely I need to reuse the weights, and every output of every network not only depends on current input. Current output not only depends on current input, it should depend on all previous inputs. In some cases, it may not depend on all previous input, but it should depend at least on few previous inputs. So if I'm getting input 3 and I'm getting output 3, the output 3 should not depend on only input 3. The output 3 should depend on input 2, should depend on input 1. Then only I can judge or predict output 3 perfectly. So when you have these sort of dependencies, you cannot model them using DNN because each DNN is independent if I do in a pure DNN form, but I need to just establish connections so that these dependencies are modeled and finally I'll get an output. Okay, but how do we do these connections? I'll reveal that suspense. It's very, very simple and we'll rewrite the equations. Okay. You already know that using RNN, we can solve two types of applications. Sequence labeling, sequence classification. These are the two main tasks. Other tasks are there, but these are the main tasks. So sequence labeling is basically example for this. This is parts of speech tagging. Sequence classification example is sentiment analysis classification. Now let us see how RNN looks for parts of speech tagging. Okay. Right, let us draw that. Okay. Finally, I'm drawing the RNN architecture now. See how I'm drawing. It is very, very close to your DNN, but what are the differences? We will see. That's the reason I've discussed DNN. So finally, what exactly you have in your mind? SAR has drawn DNN architecture. With the DNN architecture, either sequence labeling or sequence classification cannot be solved because either I'll not be able to reuse my weights or my current output will only depend on current input, but I want my current output to depend on all previous inputs. So these two constraints were not met by traditional DNN. So what I do is I draw multiple DNNs and just do connections and then accordingly come up with the output. For example, let me draw one more architecture. Okay. Now, for example, he is good. I want the parts of speech. This is pronoun is helping verb, good noun. Okay. So what exactly you are observing here? For every input, you're getting the output. Input, output, input, output. Here in this sentence, this particular output now may not be able to depend on the previous inputs. But is it the case in all the sentences? No. Right? I already have told you. Depends on the context. I don't know whether I told you that sentence or not. I think I've told you. For example, take the case of fire engine. This is, I think I told you this example. I just want to reiterate. Fire engine came rushing down the hill. Down the hill. So take the word down. This is a sentence. Porter was killed by down train. Now take the word down. Okay. So down and down. Here the down is actually preposition. Why? It depends on the other words. Again, the same down here becomes adjective. That means the current output where I'm trying to label every word parts of speech, the same word in a different sentence, different sentences have different outputs. That means it depends on other words, right? Otherwise, both of them will have either adjective or preposition, but I have two different parts of speech. That means it depends on other words. Okay, maybe in this particular sentence that I've taken, a very small sentence, that dependencies may not be there, but you can take this same explanation for this. Okay, I'm not taking bigger example because I have to draw this architecture n number of times. But in reality, we'll have dependencies, whether it can be a dependency, dependency 1, dependency 2, or dependency 3. It depends on previous inputs. Sometimes it may not. The best example for this is this. Okay. But for the sake of one or few examples, we cannot ignore the other examples where there exists a lot of dependency for the current output. Again and again, I'm telling, in sequence, these are called sequence learning problems. RNN is basically sequence learning problem. Sequence learning architecture. RNN is basically called as sequence learning architecture. So if you see in the syllabus also, the title for this is sequence learning algorithms. I did not name that as RNN. Okay, because I want to generalize. Okay, so in that sequence learning, we have two things: sequence labeling and sequence classification. Whenever there is sequence in the sense, the current output not only depends on current input, it depends on all previous inputs or some previous inputs. That is called sequence learning. That is modeled by RNN because there are connections between one DNN and other DNN. What are those connections? Let us directly jump into it, because I did not tell you how the connections will be there. Now I'm going to tell you the connections and just derive RNN with that single change. Okay. Now all of you listen carefully. Yeah, fine. Now what I do is I just do only one connection. Now see, these are independent DNNs. Again, I'm telling, these are independent DNNs. Now I am converting these DNNs, independent DNNs, to RNN, to RNN, to RNN. Okay, listen carefully. Just doing connections here. This connection, this connection. Why should I connect here? I'll tell you. This is W and this is also W. Okay, so these are the connections between one architecture and the other architecture. Okay, now let us understand why I have to do the connections here. The reason is, see, these connections are associated with the last hidden layer. Even though I have drawn one hidden layer, this connection is W indicates the weights associated with the last layer. Now, when I have input, the complete understanding would be there in the last hidden layer, that is W. That is W. Now, this V will not play much role. Why? Because once you have the last hidden layer, that means all the patterns are already detected. Hidden layer, what exactly hidden layer does? Every hidden layer will capture the features. And as you go up in the hidden layer sequence, your hidden layers will form shapes. For example, it has recognized, I already told multiple times. If, for example, if I want to detect a face, the initial hidden layers will just identify various patterns of the face. And finally, when the patterns are hidden layers are increasing, this individual patterns will form as a shape. Okay, so all that pattern understanding from the input will be there in the last hidden layer. So that means this last hidden layer is multiplied with W and it is given as input to the next hidden layer. Okay, only for the sake of simplicity I've drawn only one hidden layer. You can consider that as a last hidden layer. Okay. Okay, so now first question that should be clear by now is why I have to connect W from one hidden layer to the other hidden layer, because that this is the last hidden layer where I have all the understanding of the current input, and that understanding I'm passing. Then I can pass directly now. Why should I multiply that passing? For example, this will have some output, right? The last hidden layer will have some aggregated output after applying the activation function, right? After applying activation function, you'll get some output, right? That output I can pass directly now. Why should I multiply with W? Why should I multiply with W? Because see, this he and is that completely two different words and they have different outputs. If I don't take this W, if I don't take that W, then what happens? You will give equal priority to all input, which is not the case. For example, take this case, Nana. Do you think that the parts of speech is to be declared as helping verb depends on he? No, whether it's he or she or Ramu, doesn't matter. Whatever may be the previous word in this case, the is will always be a helping verb. Is always be helping verb. Then what should I say this here? What is the right weight here? Right weight is W is equal to 0. W is equal to 0. That means whatever may be the aggregated value, that aggregated value is multiplied with 0 and nothing will go to the next layer. That means what? I don't depend on this to declare this. This is one explanation. Other explanation. Okay, other explanation. Assume that it's not exactly, I'm not exactly telling you this particular statement. Maybe for some statement where I have x1, x2, x3 words as input. The x2 word, maybe assume that this is adjective. Maybe this is pronoun, maybe noun. Okay, just example, I'm randomly giving. So assume that the current output adjective, if I want to declare this as adjective, I should check whether the previous word is a noun or not. Assume that it depends on previous word. Then what happens? W will not be equal to 0. So that means, then what is the optimal W? How do I find optimal W? I don't know. See what happens first, I'll ensure that nothing is passed to the next layer. Nothing is passed to the next layer. The previous layer, the previous architecture understanding is not passed to the next architecture. Then I've seen this particular output is wrong. Actually supposed to be adjective. I predicted as maybe adverb. That means when W is equal to 0, my output is wrong. Then what happens? It will again do the back propagation and update this to 0.1. Again, it checks the probability of this current word x2 being adverb or adjective or something else. So like that, it applies the gradient descent, the same gradient descent, stochastic or Nastara or momentum, whatever. All these weights will be back propagated and they will be updated till the time that you get right output for the current architecture. We'll see how that back propagation will be there, because I'll show you the proof also. I think today itself we'll see. Okay, this is the idea. Now you understood, guys, what exactly we are doing to come up with an RNN architecture, just passing the understanding from one architecture to the other architecture. Where exactly the understanding lies in this. Why I'm not passing just directly the understanding. Understanding is lying in this aggregated output, right? Why I'm not passing the aggregated output as it is, because all the aggregations will not equally impact the next layer aggregations. Okay, so that is the reason these weights decide how important is the previous understanding to the next output. So based on that, the W's will be adjusted using gradient descent back propagation. So this is the high level view of RNN architecture. This is RNN architecture, Nana. Simple. So what we've done, just multiple DNNs, but with the connected DNNs. That's all. It can be CNN also, but as of now we're working with the DNN. Okay. So now let us see this. Let us write the equations. I already told if I want to reuse my weights, I have to use the same equation for all my DNN architectures. We have 3 DNN architectures here connected with the W's. I have to use the same equations. Then I'll be able to reuse this U and V across different DNNs. So that means what are the equations we will discuss? Sigma. Okay, sigma I'll write later. So it is U into Xi. Yes or no? It can be any Xi. It is U into Xi plus B. Sir, you have written the same equation earlier, na sir? Yes, Nana. Let us add one more thing here. I say it is W of S minus 1 plus B. See, no. Earlier equation was, earlier S1 was U into Xi plus B. Now what I have added here in S1? W into S minus 1. Si minus 1. This was added now. Is it clear? Shall we go in detail about this equation? How we exactly can solve our previous problems? Let us see. If you observe here, what are this? This is S1, this is S2, this is S3 states. Earlier I used to call as H1, H2, S3. Now I'm calling them as S1, S2, S3 in the entire module 4 or in the entire RNN architectures wherever you study. Instead of using H representation, they'll use S representation. Okay. Now I'm telling that the state S2, for example, let me write in the context of S2 here. Let us write the equations for S2. S2 is equal to U into X2. Do you agree? S2 is equal to U into X2 plus B. And I'll apply some activation function here. Okay, is it clear or is it looking clumsy? Okay. No one will respond. No? I'll just withdraw because it's looking clumsy. I'll just make it fast. This is S1, this is S2 connected by W, this is U, this is V, this is U, this is V, and it goes on. These architectures will be there. Now let us write equations for S2. S2 is equal to U into S2 plus B, and I'll apply sigmoid. This is DNN equation for architecture 2. But RNN equation for architecture 2 would be, this is for DNN. RN would be just one add-on. Sigma of U into S2 plus W. What along with U, what exactly it is getting? W. W is multiplied with what? Into S1. S1 plus B. Now what is the new one that you have? This one. That's all. So this is basically RNN equation for S, state S. Is it clear, guys? Okay. Now what about the output function? Output function will not change because same here. So that will not change anything because I'm not doing any connection dedicated to that. It is O of V into Si plus C. So this remains same for DNN or RNN. Only this one will change. So this one only will change. Okay, now what is the advantage here? Am I able to reuse?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, in the S2 equation, is that U into X2 or S2, sir?
Okay, yeah, it's X2. Thank you for yeah, it's X2. It's my typo. X2. So yeah, so here, what exactly with these equations will I be able to achieve my two objectives? What are the two objectives that I have? Reuse rates and objective 2. What is my objective 2? I already told. Anybody? What is my second objective? I already told. Current output should not only depend on current input, it should depend on all inputs. Not in all cases, but at least it should depend on previous inputs. That's the basic idea. Now with these equations, will I be able to achieve these two objectives? The first objective for sure I can achieve. Let us write the same thing for S3. This is for S2, right? This is for S2. I am erasing this DNN equation. I don't want to be confused. So this is for S2. Let us write similar equations for S3. S3 is equal to sigmoid of U into X3 plus W into S2. Now S3 depends on previous state S2. and yi is equal to O into V of S3 plus C. Obviously, if you observe, only in this first equation, this and this are same. Same, 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 same. Okay, same, 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 same. And if you observe clearly, even these weights are getting shared. This also, this also. Now, what is changing? The inputs, the S1s. Because when input is changing, your S2 also will change. Here you have X2 input, here I have X3 input. So S2 and S3 will change because of inputs. But rest of the weights will be shared. So reusability is obviously existing with these equations. But what about current output depends on previous inputs also. Am I able to do that? Yes, see. The S3, which is influencing Y3, depends on not only X3. S3 not only depends on X3, it depends on S2. S2 in turn depends on X2. X2 in turn depends on S2. S2 in turn depends on X1. You understood the sequence? That means every state of my current DNN architecture depends on previous states. Depends on previous states also, or previous inputs. So that means, could I achieve two of my objectives? Reusability and using the influence of previous inputs to the current output. Any questions on this? I'll discuss more details about it, but I just want you to understand the motivation behind this. See, only thing is, it's perfectly like DNN, but only thing is this additional connection in terms of W into SI minus 1 was added. W into SI minus 1 was added. Actually, when I asked just now, any questions, I expected you to ask a question about this. Will these equations hold? Will these equations hold for the first architecture? First architecture state is S1. Sigma of W into X1. Sorry. U into X1 plus W into, earlier S3 depends on S2. S1 depends on S0, but I don't have any S0, right? This is S1, this is S2. What about S0? Nothing will be there in S0 now, no? Just it's a dummy vector, because nothing is there, nothing can influence S1. S1 if influences S2, then weight will be adjusted accordingly. But since this is my first input, I don't have any previous input. S0 will be there only for as a dummy variable. It will not influence the first state S1 in any way. Okay, so that's the reason you can write the equation as S0. Okay, so plus B, and S0 generally will be by default 0. This cannot influence S1, so whatever may be the W value, the entire thing becomes 0, and this S0 will not influence S1 because S0 state physically doesn't exist, it exists virtually. Okay, so that's the reason S0 is always 0. So that the same equations can be held even for the first architecture. I thought we'll ask this. Fine. So let us understand more about this RNN architecture. Since I revealed the entire architecture RNN, we'll slowly improve that architectures one by one because there are different variants of RNN. Let us see the problems that we have with this architecture. See, Nana, only one thing. RNN could solve two of my objectives. Based on the equations, I have told why those two objectives are satisfied. Because based on the equations, I can reuse. Based on the architecture, my current output not only depends on current input, it depends on previous inputs also. I've shown the same thing just now with the equations. So this is the motivation behind any RNN. Please remember this motivation. Please remember these objectives. They're extremely important, extremely important. And very, very simple equations. It's like DNN equations with add-on of one entry, W into S minus 1, W into S I minus 1, W into S I minus 1. Okay, fine. So now let us jump into more details in this regard. Let us see that. Assume that I am trying to do sentiment classification with this RNN. That means each sentence I want to tell whether it's a positive sentence or a negative sentence. So what will be the RNN architecture? I know that it's first I need to draw the DNN architectures, then I need to combine them. Okay, so sentiment classification in the sense I have to pass words. I saw, see slowly after we're trying to get that. So assume, okay, I just want the sentiment classification. I saw bus. Okay, I saw the bus, but I'm just, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just writing it. Now, I already told the connections will be there here. And I want to tell whether this is a positive sentence or a negative sentence. In this sentiment classification, how many outputs will be there? Either positive or negative. Since output exists only here, I cannot give the outputs for each architecture. Yes or no? Cannot give the output for each architecture. Why? Because sentence classification. It's a sentiment sentence classification. That means for an entire sentence, you'll have this sentiment analysis. Why I'm not doing for the word? I can also do the sentiment for every word. For example, he is not good. Then if I do good, this is a positive sentiment, not negative. Then user, as I'm studying my reviews in Amazon or some other place, word wise sentiment will not make any sense. I need to take the entire context and then give a single output, positive or negative. Now, if that is the case, what about the outputs here? Here and here. Because anyhow, the last architecture would give the positive or negative sentiment. What about the outputs here? It's a very genuine question, right? You remember, Nana? Here, the output layer will not be there. Directly, the hidden representation is passed to the next one. Okay. For example, let us say that if I classified this sentence as a negative sentence, which is not, definitely it's a positive sentence. I saw a bus or I saw the bus is actually a positive sentiment sentence. Assume that I classified it as a negative. My system classified as negative. Now that means my loss will be very high. My loss will be very high. Now what happens if I have a huge loss? I need to reduce the loss. How do I reduce the loss? I need to back propagate. So I need to do back propagation like this and update the weights and again forward propagate and again do the prediction. Now loss will decrease when compared with the previous loss. Okay, so in certain applications of sequence learnings, for example, take the case of sentiment classification or sequence classification task. Any sequence classification task will only have one output. The other architectures will not have any. If it is a case of sequence labeling, the best example is POS tagging, parts of speech tag. Then That means every word I want to give parts of speech tag. Then every architecture will have output. So that means in sequence learning problems, that is basically RNN, every architecture may not have output layer. Some applications like sequence classification will only have output layer at the last architecture. The other category called sequence labeling will have output layer for every architecture, and these are connected. Okay, so this is the basic idea of RNN in the context of sequence labeling and sequence classification. Sequence labeling. Sequence classification will have output layer in the last architecture. Here, sequence labeling output layer for every architecture in your RNN, every sub architecture of your RNN. So this is the basic idea of RNN architecture. So now we understood a new point based on the output layer of RNN. Once we understood how RNN is connected, how RNN equations achieves my two objectives, and there are different variants of RNN where in some RNNs you will not find output layer for every architecture. Some RNN architectures you find output for every architecture. That is the second point you have to remember. And the third point, there are certain problems. For example, I saw the bus is one sentence for which I need to classify it as a positive sentiment or a negative sentiment. This is my statement one. Second statement, I will run after you. Again, for which I need to classify it's a positive or negative. Again, I have another sentence. We are happy. Some random sentences. No, there's no meaning. Like there's no randomly selected. That's all. Now, assume that I have these three sentences in my training data. I'm not talking about testing. Okay. So I'm talking about training. You will have thousands and thousands of sentences. That's a different story. But assume that I have three sentences, and I need to pass these inputs and make my system predict whether it's a positive sentence or negative sentence. Now, can I pass this as it is directly to my RNN architectures one by one? First, I'll pass this, then I'll pass this, then I'll pass the third sentence. For each sentence, I'll get the corresponding sentiment. But do I have any problems associated with it? Think on it. Closely think on it. You always need to think about the two objectives. Always think on two objectives. That's extremely important, highly important, Anna. Otherwise, I would have directly told RNN equations and taken these examples. Whenever I ask any question in the exam also, very, very important. In the exams also, some questions will be asked on these objectives. What are those objectives? Reuse. Every output depends not only on the current input, it depends on the other inputs. Now, if I pass like this, will I be able to achieve those two objectives? What objective will fail? Or will it fail, first of all, in the first case? Maybe I can ask this way. Every constraint I'm telling in the class, maybe if I ask this in the exam, then I know, maybe like you'll write your own answer and you'll not write the right answer. So make yourself in a thoughtful way. Try to think and then answer. No answers? Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. See, it's very simple, Nana. The weights cannot be reused in this context. The objective one fails. Why the objective one will fail? Objective one, that means reusability will not be done because your input length is different. Here you have first sentence has 4 words, second has 5, next has 3 words. That means whenever you pass these sentences, you represent all these in a matrix form. Can you have a matrix like this? Maybe 0, 1, 0, 1, and another matrix with another row of a matrix 0, 1, another row matrix with 0, 1, 0. Can you have like this? You cannot have, right? You cannot have it. So all these RNN inputs are represented in a matrix form. In a matrix form, you cannot have incompatible matrix representation. That means I should do something here. So definitely the problem is reusability is not done. So I should change the input representation. I already told whenever I have a textual input, you should use one hot encoded representation. But now that one hot encoded representation is giving a problem when I'm actually implementing it in the form of matrix, where every sentence is represented in a one OHE form. Every word OHE will be there for this, OHE will be there for this, OHE for this, OHE for this. But all these belong to single input. So that means I will have OHE of word I, OHE one hot encoded of I saw, word saw, and I'll have OHE of bus. You have 3 OHs. Now the second has, I think, has 5. We'll have 5 words OHs. Now this is only 3 values in the first row and 5 values in the second row. Like this, if you have different length rows, then you cannot represent in the form of a matrix. If you are not able to represent in a matrix, do you remember, guys, in our forward propagation, it's actually multiplication of weight matrix into input matrix. You remember? I don't know whether you remember or not. It's W into X. So that this multiplications will not happen if you have this problem. That means I need to change, I need to do certain modifications to this representation. We will see in maybe, I think after labs, I think after a long gap, we will discuss later. Okay, I think this would be the last theory class and we'll start labs in the next week, hopefully. So here, just remember, I'll just write summary, Nana, so that after a month, we'll just recollect because I'll come to know at what point it'll stop. So we actually came up with a sequence of certain applications like word autocomplete, sentence autocomplete, parts of speech tagging, sentiment classification. For all these applications where current output not only depends on current input, it depends on previous inputs. For any application, not only these applications, any application that has this constraint, cannot be solved by DNN or CNN because there is no knowledge transfer from one architecture to the other architecture. Now we identified that entire knowledge is being represented in the form of weights. You'll also see in the labs also. See, for example, take the case of our brain. Whenever in human beings, we understand and we process everything from brain. What about the understanding in the neural network? The understanding in the entire neural network will be there in the weights. Maybe you'll see this in transfer learning. I already told you transfer learning will see in one of the labs. At that time, I'll tell you the entire understanding of the system prediction. System is able to tell whether it's a dog or cat. That understanding is being stored in the form of weights. Okay, so that means I need to somehow see how much. If I want to I2, I got output O2. Now, how much I1 is influencing to O2? How much of I1 is influencing O2? That I should know. I cannot directly pass I1 to O2. Instead, from I1, I'm trying to understand some patterns. I'm getting H1. From H1, I'm passing this to S2. Yes, I'll use S1. S1, I'm getting S1. This S1, I don't know because S2 is the pattern understanding of input I2. S2 is a pattern understanding of I2. But how much of this S1 is influencing O2 based on weights? So that means my weights are deciding how much of my previous architecture is influencing the next architecture output. That KD is being done in the form of RNN. In the form of RNN, which this KT was not there in CNN or DNN. So basically, the advantage of this RNN equations are it's not only transferring the KT, it is also reusing the weights. So two main advantages is KT transfer or nothing but every output not only depends on current input, it depends on previous inputs. That's nothing but KT and reusability. So these two advantages are there. But in this also, the input is having variable sized rows. Variable sized rows. This is a problem. The first problem is how do I pass string as input? The answer is one hot encoded representation. But when this is considered in the form of a matrix, when they have a variable sized rows, I have a problem. How to solve this? We will see maybe after the break. Let's keep this as suspense. It's a very simple thing, but let us keep this as suspense and we'll continue after the labs. I think it will be a long time after the labs. I don't know how much you remember this, but at least try to remember and take a note of it. That's the reason I put it everything in a single slide. Okay. Now let me stop the recording and I'll take your questions.